Okay, so time for game 3 of this possibly hundreds of thousands of games to reach. I am, but no, I don't know. I'm enjoying this longer chess. I just finished an exam today and I'm pretty done with doing work, so here I am on this grind. Now, I really need to make the most of this kind of high K factor and not lose too many games, so so he's played c5. So really I think I should try and look into some King's Indian lines with e4 and d3, g3 to try and get an edge over players that play c5, at least weaker players. But for now I don't really know the lines and I'm just going to play what I know, which is kind of the symmetrical stuff. So I've been looking at some different ideas. Some lines I don't even castle. Yeah, for instance in this line I think I've actually got, if they now, okay, two things, I could try playing d3, not castling, playing h4, h5, and I've looked at it on a computer and some grandmasters try it as well in this kind of line. But also, if you remember my first game in my road to IM, that was a line where they played b6, bishop b7, d5, and in both positions I want a pawn on e3 and a fianchetto my bishop and castle my king, so I really have to decide between the two structures now. And it all depends on how black wants to play this, but okay, I think I'll play safe and play castling. I won't try this h4 stuff. And I'll hope that he kind of plays b6 and transposes into this stuff. But I think even if not, if he goes d6, I can still play an eventual d4, and I think that's good for me. Okay, so let's have a think. I don't know if b3 is too slow. Will he be able to push d4, then takes knight here, and then pushes pawn again, even? Is that good for him? But then I guess I have a powerful bishop on this long diagonal. Can he really exploit it? I can play a3 to stop the knight coming in. Yeah, okay, let's go down this line if he wants to. Normally they don't, so it should be fine. Also note that if pawn takes, if knight here, then I can go d4, and if pawn takes queen here, I guess I can play queen e2. But it's a tad annoying, that's for sure. So hey, let's continue with our plan. So I want to put a queen on e2, rook on d1. But I think, yeah, he's not planning on going b6 anytime soon. And he's probably thinking of pushing here. And why wouldn't he? I mean, it's a little bit annoying for me. So maybe I can use this opportunity to take. I feel like that would be wise. And take and play d4. Okay, my pieces aren't optimally placed, but I think compared to him pushing, it's a much favorable position. It's a little bit dull, I think, but you know, I've got the fianchettoed bishops. I think I've got the advantage in this position. Oh, I didn't consider him taking with the knight. That was very careless. So if knight takes and then queen takes even, I don't get the structure where I can play d4 and get a nice position. So if knight takes, queen takes, I do have this bishop discovered on the queen, but I don't know if I can do anything. Maybe I've got a move like knight e5, and once queen moves, then I can take the knight on here and double up his pawn. I do like that. I do like that a lot, so I'm going to take here. And if queen takes, I think that's bad because of a move like this. If pawn takes, then I've got d4. Now I've also got to consider him playing bishop f6 to neutralize this b2 bishop. But yeah, I think d4 must be the principal way of playing this. I mean, that's why you play e3. So here, like, I would hope for pawn takes pawn, and that would be quite nice. I don't know if putting my queen on this square on the line of the rook is wise, but I think it... Oh no, definitely not in this position actually, because takes, and then I'm just losing. Am I able to survive this position actually? So queen d2 maybe. And then I can kind of bring my rooks into the game. I guess I don't need to move the queen right now either. But I guess I want to guard my bishop. Just give it some support. I feel like the queen isn't that bad on d2. I guess bishop f5, knight b4 could be coming, but then after that I can play a3. Probably stop those ideas and maybe take c5 at some point. Okay, let's do that. I don't know, I think maybe I could play something like rook c1 or something, but I want to get my rook onto d1, and you know, not having a loose bishop is always good. Okay, so now he's taking. So I don't really know what's... Okay, I don't want to take the bishop. I don't want to give him the option of taking with my knight and having the bishop pair. But I don't know if I'm gonna... I think this is fine. Like, I can always support it with rook d1, and he can't get many more attackers on this knight. And if he decides to trade all off, he's just got an isolated pawn and I've got a slight edge, which, you know, I'll take. Okay. And you know, I prefer my bishop on this long diagonal versus compared to his bishop. So you know, I might have this IQP. Like, this is definitely slightly better for me, that's what I'm saying. And my piece development is very natural. Like, am I not just winning the pawn immediately with rook d1? I feel like I am. I can even go rook d2 and then the other rook to d1. But the question is, can I convert a one pawn advantage position? Who knows? Okay. So the idea is if I take the bishop, then rook d8 pins the bishop. I am tempted by moves like h4. I don't know if h4 is a good idea or not. I feel like I see that position quite a lot, like with the pawns like this, in like a tick. I don't really know what's the significance of h4 or h2. If anyone watching has any idea whether h4, h2 is a better pawn formation, do let me know. I don't have to panic as well. I can play a move like rook c1, and if he goes rook d8, then I can bring it to the 7th with rook c7. And I feel like that must be pretty good as well. And right now, you know, I've got no weaknesses. Why give him any option to cause weaknesses? So I'm just going to play rook c1, I think, unless I'm missing any tactics. Yeah, like, the point of this pawn is that it's always going to be a weakness, so he's always going to have to keep an eye on it. So if I can't win it now, I can probably win it later. So if you notice the time difference, like, he's got more than 15 minutes, but at the end of the day, I get 10 seconds to move, and I've still got 10 minutes, and I'm a bullet player, so this is a lot of time. So yeah, I've got plans of coming to the 7th, I mean, if he challenges with like moving a rook to c8, I don't know what I do. Okay, well he didn't do that anyway. So I could place a rook on c7, and if he goes rook c8, then I can move my other rook to c1 and start to charge down that open file. Like, I think that looks very good for me. I could also place my rook on c5 instead. That might be more pressing, because I guess on c7, like, this is a principle, like, to put your rooks on the 7th rank, but, you know, he's got a bishop on e6. It doesn't look like I can attack it too easily, whereas the pawn on d5, on the other hand, is a problem for him, and he's not coming into my back rank, at least not this move. So I think that's the way I should play. So I think maybe next move I can even take the pawn. Thing is, if I take the pawn, my queen can't move anywhere to defend the bishop and get off the pin without giving myself another pin. For instance, bishop takes pawn, then he does something, and then I can't even go queen here because then there's a pin here, and I don't know. Of course, if he traded everything off, then that would be completely fine for me, but I don't think he's going to do that. I can also start trying to target this a6 pawn as well. I don't like the pin at all, unless I'm missing something. I guess I can go bishop takes and then e4. That's definitely worth considering. Then there really is no problem. That looks very tempting, actually. If you can't get an immediate attack on it, and like, you know, this rook is then a discovered attack on the queen in some lines, which I can possibly utilize. Yeah, let's go for it. So my plan is to play e4 and support this bishop, and then I'm doing okay. I think this is just a slightly miserable position for him, and it's all in my hands whether I win this or draw. I don't think it's possible to blunder massively here. I'm setting myself up for that. I don't know why you'd play so quickly and just go a pawn down in a 15-minute game. He was blitzing the opening. I don't know, I feel like I'm taking a lot of time with my moves, and then in a long play game I always end up getting in time trouble. And like, I don't know, I feel like I'm analysing the moves very carefully and only spending like a minute on each move, which seems a long time online and then a short time in real life, so I have no idea what's going on. Okay, so anyway, e4. Maybe I should just talk to myself in real games. Maybe. So bishop takes. I'm just looking if like bishop takes works. I am attacking the queen as well, but I don't think that works because he takes my queen, threatening my d1 rook with a check. So that's very crucial. But I think here I can play e4, and then I'm really doing well. I guess he's got moves like f5 I've got to consider. But then I thought I'd just do pawn takes. Or maybe actually I can play f4 and then e5 and get a passed pawn. That looks really good. Yeah, e4 looks good. And now I can move my queen. Also, if he ever plays f5, I can do bishop takes e6, which just wins on the spot. Because the bishop is only guarded by the rook then, and once rook takes, then I can take on d8, yes. So maybe now actually, I've got some ideas. I can play rook to c7, threaten to play f4, f5, put some pressure. Still looking at this bishop takes c6, so it looks a little bit cute. Okay, so if I go off the line, I need to make sure I don't forget to guard my rook. Maybe I can put a rook on c here, but I've got to be careful of any like bishop h. Free shit. Maybe a rook to c7 is good. Does that pin the bishop? If bishop goes to h3. Then bishop takes, check. No, then queen takes bishop, rook takes, and my queen is on pre, I think. And my rook is on pre. Oh god, I can't really calculate, it's bad. Okay, think of a good move here, Michael. So ideally I just want to get rid of this bishop. I can't do that right now. My queen is on the same line. If I move my queen, then my rook is unprotected. Unless I go to queen a1, which could be okay, it can relocate to c1. But I still can't take because then there'll be a double attack on my rook. So maybe I should try something like rook c7, but then maybe queen comes here, but then... Hey, let's try it. The idea being if like queen c3, then I can play queen d3. And I think this is just fine. I don't know, can he play bishop h3 here? No, I don't think I can. Wait. Yeah, I think he gets a rook and a piece versus my rook. But I do win these 2 pawns. So it'd be 3 pawns for the piece. Maybe I can do it. Wait. Bishop here. Bishop takes. Queen takes, rook takes. Has to take my queen. Which I then take g7, check, king takes, rook takes d4. And yeah, I've got 3 pawns for the piece. But here, I'm a whole pawn up for nothing. So maybe I should try and retain that. So let's have a think. If he goes bishop h3, I guess I can play like queen, not e3 because there are too many pins on my queen, maybe like queen c3 to guard that square, but okay, he's done something different. Slightly conscious of my time as well. Okay, I do have, okay, e5 doesn't work. Oh, and I don't want to lose my rook. God damn it, this queen. I can play rook here. Is that any good? Kind of like that actually. But then maybe queen here. Is that ever annoying? Maybe I should put my rook on a dark square as well, would be good. But then bishop takes, pawn takes, rook e1, check. Is this something to worry about? Maybe in lines with the queen on h3, so I don't want to move this rook. It's actually got surprisingly a lot of play, I think. Very frustrating. So what do I do? What the hell do I do? And I've only got 5 minutes left. Maybe I can play h4, then queen g4. Shit. I do not believe that he's just doing completely fine here. Maybe I'm just seeing ghosts for no reason. What is he threatening? Guess he's threatening this slow power. I want to get this rook off this file. I didn't see what's wrong with that. Probably should have seen that earlier. Oh shit, I do lose the pawn though. But do I care? Maybe I don't care. Maybe I don't give a damn. I've got like queen a7 as my only chance. But hey, at least my light squares are no longer as weak. Okay. So queen a7 looks like my best shot of gaining something. I guess he's got check, rook takes queen a8, and he's got check here again. That looks kind of uncomfortable, actually. Wow, his rooks are surprisingly strong. Damn it. I guess I can try and pressure f7 as well as a strategy. Wow. Alright. I want to do this. Guard both my rooks. If rook down to d1 takes, and then I'm threatening this if he does nothing. So everything of mine is defended, apart from the pawns. Oh no, don't start lagging and hanging and... He's done that. Okay, at least he's gotten off that file, which I can jump on, I guess. Maybe queen down here, but then I guess he's got a queen here. And I'll probably be the one defending. So I can't actually stop him from going here. Wow, how the tables have turned. I don't believe it. Ridiculous. So just blundering the pawn and suddenly my position, I'm on the defense. I have queen here, then he can go rook here. Shit. So maybe a move like queen here to guard FT. Wow, he's coming to e2. So then I guess I can play rook back down to c2. Do I take a draw? I guess he can play rook e2. Maybe I shouldn't have played this move so quickly. Maybe rook a7 is a better idea. Hey, he switched it up. Maybe I've got a check though. Does that do anything? Oh god. Why do I have to make life hard for myself? Rook c2 loses because of forks and stuff. I don't believe this. How is this so difficult? I'm really struggling here. Just like the back rank problems. Maybe I can play, maybe h4 is why people play h4, like... Hey, I might be able to play rook c2 with the idea of playing here and takes and then check on e4 to hold everything. I think that's a really cheeky looking move, but I'm really worried it doesn't work. Rook takes c2, then queen e4 check. And then capture with the queen. I think this holds. It's miserable how it's I've had to resort to like sneaky tactics to try and like defend my position. Oh fuck, I could have taken the queen. I mean, I would have had some play, because his pawns would have been doubled. Damn it, why did I play that so quickly? I guess I didn't think there was any alternative. Hey, now this is pretty dead drawn. I guess I can try for some stuff, like... rook here. Maybe f4. I'm gonna f4 and march my king up. See how that goes. Ah, can I play rook here? I am thinking way too long on this. Just play a move. I'm slightly worried of king g4 though. But okay, he's not winning anything because my rook is here. So in fact I could go to e4 and I think my king would be getting into a better position while he wasn't doing much. Calculating rook c7 if that's worth a try. I want to play this first and gain some time on the clock. I'm going to drop back to c2. If he goes... I think wherever he goes, I've got 18 seconds, I don't want to calculate hard. I don't really see how he progresses here. If he tries to play rook e6, then maybe my king will be faster than his. Oh, okay. I think this is... I like this actually, because now his pawn is backwards on g7, and I'm forcing his king back whilst my king is getting more centralized. Just make sure that he doesn't get onto my 7th. Alright. Can I play rook d2 here? Should I go all out? It's tempting. Take pawn. Go on, let's do it. Let's do it. I was thinking king e4 is fine as well, but it takes, king takes. Ah, but I was looking at king here and I was thinking of king c3, but maybe rook takes, king takes. Maybe just b4 is fine from him. Ah shit, I need to decide to. Oh god, that was probably a horrific move. Stress of the clock. Okay, let's try this. If he takes, then I'm gonna go king here. I have no idea. Pawn here, king here. Don't know what difference it makes. Wait, takes. Maybe I want that king there because maybe I've got a check in some lines if I try and promote the b pawn. So he's going for that one, so I don't want to be in line of a check if he promotes. So maybe I'll go king here. And then I promote with check. Okay, so I don't know if trading would be good for me. I guess I want to try and win a pawn first. Maybe I can just keep checking, so it's a draw. I want to try playing king, queen, g7. And then I'll try to play h4 and stuff. To support h4 perhaps. I'm wondering if there are any queen checks that do anything. Alright, let's keep pushing for now. I don't really know what the strategy should be here actually. I feel like this should be drawn, right? Unless someone now slips, I guess. He's gonna keep pushing. Do it. I promote first. But I don't want to block. No, I don't. I'm going to try my best not to block the promotion. So this might just be drawn. Do I want a draw? That's the question. I feel like I do. Yeah, there's a draw. Damn. Because, you see, if I ever go onto this diagonal, then he promotes with check and then it'll go into another queen and pawn endgame where I have a king-queen versus his queen and pawn. Yeah, so it's tricky, like, how I'm supposed to progress in this position. I don't think I can. I think maybe he could have tried something else. But again, it's dodgy for him to try and play for the win because I'm promoting first and maybe then he can't promote or something, but I feel like he probably could. I don't know. Be interesting to see. Yeah, I'll analyze it and we'll go to that and have a look. Okay, so time for the post-game analysis. So yeah, actually I'm recording this a couple days later because my computer kept crashing and Chessbase kept crashing, but you know, what can I do? So anyway, let's have a look at the game. And, you know, going through the ideas for a second time for me will be useful as well. So yes, knight f3, Loretti, and black played c5. Now, it's important to note in this position, as I mentioned in the video, that, you know, white can take two setups at this point. So white can aim for the move c4, which is asymmetrical, and which is what I played in the game, which tends to lead to more boring positions because black can kind of copy white's setup and get a decent position, which just, I don't know, like any kind of symmetrical positions like the French exchange, like there are some tricks and plays, but you know, generally it's a lot more boring. And yes, so the second setup is a king's Indian attack setup, where white plays the move g3, bishop g2, d3, e4, and gets more of an attack going. But yeah, I haven't really looked into this too much, and I'm normally playing on the receiving end of a King's Indian, so, and I normally like my chances against a King's Indian, so I need to have a look into that, and maybe I'll play that against weaker opponents so I can try and push for an edge a little better. Anyway, I'm rambling, so let's get to the game. So, some standard symmetrical stuff happens, and at this point, I don't know if you remember, but in the video I'm contemplating the idea of playing d3 and going for this h4 stuff, which seems ridiculous, and it kind of is. I'm actually getting this setup mixed up with a different position where black has played g6 and bishop g7, and now this h4 idea makes more sense as you've got like a pawn on g6 that you can bite on. Whereas in this position, yes, maybe my pawn can race up to h6, but it's just a little bit too slow, and I'm not really getting enough out of it. So, yeah, so definitely play the position rather than play for setups, just because you think, oh, this should be good, but I don't really understand why I'm playing it. So yeah, I made the right decision in the game to go with just castling, and here I tried to get to a setup I understood. After b3, actually, black could have played the move d4, and I think, even though b3 I checked on a database is the most common line, d4 is actually quite testing, and even though I like reverse Benoni structures, and I'm a Benoni player myself as black, you know, this isn't a completely ideal Benoni because we've moved the pawn to b3, which doesn't normally happen so soon, and I'm not used to moving this knight to a3, c2 setups. I normally like my knight on d2, and as you can see, this knight has moved multiple times to get to a3, so I think white has lost a lot of tempi here, and you know, black can immediately push with e4, and I just suggest this line as an option. But yeah, I think you know, here I don't see black has any problems. Like, black's got a pawn up, and maybe my bishops are better in this position, and I might have played on the f-file, so maybe I've got something here. But yeah, I definitely need to look into this kind of position where I allow black to play d4 and see if I'm super comfortable with it. But I'll do that another time. In the meantime, or if you guys have any solutions or answers, please comment below. Yeah, but anyway, the game continued with bishop b2, and still my opponent did not play
d4, luckily for me, and only now did I realise, okay, d4 actually looks pretty good. So I decided to take and play d4 myself. And now I think my opponent didn't play so well, because in this position, you know, if he gets the isolated queen's pawn, he really has to attack and make sure he uses the space advantage of having the isolated queen pawn to his advantage. But instead, he decided to swap off all the pieces, which gets closer to an endgame, and that pawn will just be a sitting duck for me to slowly build more and more pressure, which is exactly what happened in the game. So all of this was fine by me. And here, there's actually a really interesting subtlety to the position, which I didn't understand. But that's the idea of, after playing bishop takes d5, the light squares around my king are actually surprisingly weak. And after e4, I mean. And in the game, it was these light squares that were exploited. So if my bishop, like if you imagine this position, but my bishop on g2, then I have no problems with king safety whatsoever. But with my bishop stranded out on d5, it's actually doing me more harm than good. So a better move I could have played, instead of taking the pawn with the bishop, would be to play e4 and utilize the fact that this queen is pinned. I mean, sorry, the pawn is pinned to the queen on this horizontal. So here maybe black can continue with bishop g4, rook d2, and you know, whatever he does, he's going to lose the pawn. And either I'm going to recapture with the pawn, in which I get a pass pawn, or maybe if he plays queen back, I can even take with the rook. And I'm just a clear pawn up. King has no problems. He's got absolutely no play, so I should definitely try and look for ideas like this in future. But yeah, after bishop takes d4, e4, queen h5, and you see suddenly how he's got this control on the light squares. Rook c7, rook d6, and now here I just blunder a pawn, which was stupid. Like, I could have continued with play like this, maybe try and swap off a few pieces, get to an end game where there's no pieces on the board except for my pawn advantage, and then that probably gives me my best chance of winning, I would think. I think that's what you should do. Like, you should try and swap off pieces, not swap off pawns. So after rook dc1, yeah, I just blundered a pawn straight away. And what you can notice is that suddenly now my light squares are extremely weak around my king, and it's very apparent, like, okay, we do some repeating here, but instead of queen f4, if I had played queen a7, which is what I was contemplating in the video, you know, black's even got chances. I mean, well, black is winning here with a move like rook d1 check, and here the strong move queen d5 check, just completely exploiting all of my light squares. And suddenly, you know, if I move to king f1 to avoid this, then there's queen h1 mate, and if I play king g1, then he's got rook e1, and you can just see how my light squares are completely dominated. So luckily I played the right move here. I played queen f4 just to kind of guard everything and make sure everything was intact. And I played this line seeing that I had this queen e4 resource, which was vital, otherwise I'm just losing here. And after queen g6, yeah, I should have taken on g6 to give myself the best chance. It still says, you know, the position's equal in that position. But yeah, so we go down this line, and here we both centralize our kings, which is the right thing to do. And rook c5 is slightly inaccurate. I should have played h3 to stop the king coming to g4, but I played rook c5, and maybe this gives him a little bit of play, but you know, I move back and he moves back, and this time he tried to switch it up with king e6, and I think this drops the edge to me instead. So with the move f5, which was good, and here I missed a really good chance to give myself an opportunity to win the game. Oh, I should probably put my laptop on charge. Okay. Yeah, so as I was saying, I missed a good chance to take the initiative here, and I was too fixated on my opponent gaining the 7th, or my 2nd rank, by, like, if I tried to play king e4. But in fact, after rook d2, then I've got a very strong move, rook d5 check, and in fact I'm winning here after the rook swap off, and my king is just dominating the black king with the opposition as well. So, the game continued. I retreated and played passively with rook c2. Black played rook d5 to attack my f pawn. And now here I think I played very impractically, which is I had very little time on the clock, and I was trying to calculate lines where I trade rooks and do I win in king and pawn endgame. And king and pawn endgames are notorious for being very difficult and one side gaining an advantage and winning the position, whereas rooks on the board are notorious for drawing. And you know, if I've got very little time on the clock, I should be keeping the rooks on and playing it safe rather than trying to play risky lines like this. And in fact, after king d6, which was the best move, you know, I play another risky pawn move that's, you know, very decisive. Like, I should be playing something safer, like moving my rook to f2, for instance, just to guard my f5 pawn, keep the rooks on the board, and I should be drawing this fine. Yeah, so after b4, there was a trade of rooks, and this was correctly played by black, and now black has the advantage, and he played this fine, and he starts to come in. Now, I want you to ignore the notation and have a look at this position. And in the game, black took the pawn on h2, but in fact, black is actually winning. So I will give you a few seconds now to pause the video and try and find the win for black. Okay, so if you spotted this, then you are very good at endgames. And the answer is to play f5, exclamation mark. And the reason being is because firstly, there's a general rule where you want to push the pawn that is the furthest outside, the outside pawn of the group of pawns, if that makes sense. So like, yeah, you want to try and push this one if it's like 3 against 2. And if you count, so after f5, if king takes pawn, then g5, king takes this pawn, pawn pushes. Basically, black is going to be able to promote this faster than white can. And in fact, if you count this, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, effectively. 6 moves till promotion. Whereas if you look in the line where king takes h2, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait, hold on, have I counted this wrong? Oh yeah, because the pawn isn't on f5 at that point. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 moves. And the difference in one move is the difference between winning and losing. So f5, g5, f4 is the way to play this, and black would have won the game. But instead, black gave me a chance, and he had a lot of time on the clock, so he could have calculated this. But it's less intuitive, you know, like free pawn, grab it immediately. But yeah, this is in fact drawn from here. And I did a good job of making sure I put my king on c6, not a6, otherwise I'm not sure if I'd be losing, but it definitely gives them chances. So here, you know, this was definitely the right option, but now I make a blunder, which my opponent didn't capitalize on, which was the move queen to g8. And after queen check and king b5, now my king is assisting my pawn to drive up the board. I can play a4, a5, a6, which gives me my only drawing chance. Instead, after queen g8, you see how the pawn cannot push to a4 because the queen is covering it. So
A much better move would have been to play queen b3, which then allows me to play a4, a5, a6 and so on, and this gives me a good chance to draw the game. But yeah, queen g8, it doesn't help me do that at all, and black can just play g5, and suddenly, you know, he's going to be driving the pawn up the board, whereas my pawn is still on a2. So it definitely gives him strong chances of winning. But luckily he didn't play this, and I got my chance to push my pawn right up the board, and at this point, when he starts repeating moves, because I queen before he does and I control his queening square, he decided to just keep checking me, and the computer also evaluated this as the best line. So yeah, an exciting draw in the end. I'd say it's pretty exciting, and definitely some things to learn out of it. Like, one thing, I think the most interesting thing for me was just, what was this? I'm looking for the bishop move. Bishop takes d5. Like, how that weakened the squares around my king, like there are some mating lines and all sorts. And yeah, definitely I should be more wary of that in particular. And also, just like my practical chances in the game, like I should definitely not be trading rooks and playing committal pawn moves in a position where I have little time and when I have the option to just keep the rooks on. So yeah, some things to think about and some things to improve upon, and I hope that helps you improve too. I'll see you next time.